This is the plaintiff, Maritza Bonilla. She says she lived in the defendant's dilapidated apartment for a very short time. And now that she's moved out, she's having one heck of a time getting her security returned. The doorbell would ring in the middle of the night by itself. The stove didn't work and the bathroom flooded. She has no idea why the defendants are keeping her money, and she thinks the judge will agree. She's suing for $2,400, double her security, which she's entitled to according to the laws of her state. These are the defendants, Melissa Evans and Claudia Fasinelli. They say the plaintiff moved out without the required 30-day notice and tried to use her security as the last month's rent, which is illegal. Besides, the woman broke things in the apartment, had an illegal pet in the place, and they have every right to keep her money. In fact, they're owed more to cover the damages. They're accused of renting a wreck. The defendants have filed a countersuit for $950 for damages and repairs.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff says she suffered through living in a disgusting apartment, and the landlord added insult to injury by not returning her security. But the defendants say the plaintiff skipped out illegally and she was a disaster to boot. It's the case of going mental over the rental.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Maritza Bonilla, you are suing Melissa Evans and Claudia Fasinelli. Okay. For $2,400, double the security deposit because according to you, they have improperly withheld it, and Connecticut law allows you to sue for double if that happens. You're counterclaiming against her $950 in addition to keeping the security deposit because according to you, she broke a doorbell and stove. Okay, let's start with you. What happened?
I moved in this apartment in July 4, 2011. I give her a 1 month deposit, $1,100, and 1 month rent. Claudia, we made an agreement that she was going to charge me 1 month rent and 1 month deposit. When I move in, she changed her mind and she said she wants 2 months deposit. So
okay,
I said,
was any of that, there was no written lease?
Yes.
no.
Can I see the
it was
written
a
lease?
verbal lease.
Okay, let me see the written lease.
Thank you.
Okay, is this your signature? Did you sign this lease?
Yeah.
Yes? So
Yes.
was there a lease?
Well, it was a verbal lease. It was not a
What's
lease.
that? That's from handwriting. Is that the lease you signed?
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Okay, that's a written lease. I don't know what you're saying. It's a written lease. Okay. Go ahead.
All right. So I give him $100 extra for the second deposit, and I told him that I wouldn't be able to make up the rest of the deposit because I didn't have a lot of work in that time. So
Well, just a moment. So all you paid of that other month was $100.
that's right.
Are you in agreement with that?
Yes.
Okay, now let's move on to the next crisis. You lived there how long?
9 months.
And then you decide you want to leave.
I move out. The reason why is because the school didn't work out for my daughter.
Okay.
And they knew that.
How old is your daughter?
14.
It was a month to month in the written lease,
Yes.
right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
Okay, so how much
Yes.
notice did you give?
I told them April 15 of the
Of what
following
year?
Of following year, 2012.
On April 15th of 2012, you tell them you're moving out on
Yes.
what day?
At the end of the month.
Okay, so you gave them 15 days notice,
Yes.
but you know you're supposed to give them 30.
I told them that I was willing to give them the 2 weeks that I didn't know, give it the notice.
So you're willing to give them what? 2 more weeks? Because you think that if you notify them on April 15th, you only have to stay till May 15th. That's what you think.
Right, the whole month, because it was 30 days notice, because it was a verbal
Okay,
notice.
you don't think you have to notify them at the beginning of a rental period. You think that you could just notify them in the middle and then that's the day they have to rent the apartment and prorate it to somebody else?
No.
Yeah, that is what you're saying.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so
All
go
right,
on.
So Claudia was very
And
upset
they
with
said
me.
to you
She didn't
what
want-
when you
No, she didn't
offered
want to
that?
work it out with me, so I let it go. And Melissa came around later, and she said to me, "Okay, I want to get things clear and turn in good terms with you. If you leave by the 28th of the month, before the 1st of May, and the apartment is ready to go to rent it, I give you a deposit." So we agreed to do that.
Yeah.
So I move out the 28th.
Did you agree to do that, Melissa?
If we were able to re-rent it.
All right, so according to you, you tell her if we re-rent it, you try to re-rent it?
Yeah, we did.
And you put it in the paper?
Yeah, we put it, yeah.
Where'd you put it?
Craigslist.
All right, did you re-rent it for May?
No, we did
Did you
not.
re-rent it for June?
Yes.
Okay. So when she contacts you, when does she contact you and give you a forwarding address?
We received I received a letter in the mail. So
All right, so we know you sent a written letter because you acknowledge receiving it. And within 30 days after that,
Yeah.
you guys send her, no, we're not returning it, and here's why.
Right.
What's the here's why that you say?
because there was a stove that was broken when she moved
Did
out.
she break it?
We feel that she did.
What do you mean you feel? Did she or didn't she?
It was working when she moved in.
Nobody else living in.
Yeah, but sometimes things break because they're old.
Right.
Okay.
The house is
Right,
80
so
years
just
old.
because she's in possession, the house is 80 years old, but the stove's
Yeah.
not 80 years old.
The house is 80 years old. They never
No, the
changed
stove is not 80 years old. I didn't see the stove, but I guarantee to you that the stove is not original like you kept saying in your
We
complaint.
purchased the house 2 years ago and we had an inspection done.
Yeah, I understand that a stove.
the stove
Okay,
was
stop,
working.
guys. You're grown-ups. You've owned things. Okay, you know that things have a natural shelf life, and at some point they break.
but sure.
Excuse me. The tenant. If the tenant breaks them, they're responsible for them. But if the tenant doesn't break them, why are they responsible for the thing when it broke?
That was-
Okay, and what you say in your letter to her is, it broke during the term of your lease agreement, so you have to buy us a new stove. That's preposterous. Of course not. Why would you have to do that?
So, do you have to give the 30 days notice based on when the rent is due, or say if the rent is due in the 1st, could you say I'll give it on the 15th and wait 30 days from the 15th? What do you think?
As long as you adjust the price so that you're paying for when you're there and you're not paying for when you're not there.
So you can adjust the price even if rent is due in the 1st and say you give notice in the 15th.
Yeah, I think a month is a month as long as you pay for the time you're there.
Is that right? That it counts and whenever you want to give it during the month?
Yes, absolutely.
I think you're all wrong. Going inside the courtroom.
I ask you again for the
And
final
the door-
time,
and
do you
the
have
door.
proof that she broke it? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. Now let's talk about the doorbell, though, because that you have a confession on. Now, talk to me about the doorbell. What happened with the doorbell?
The doorbell was, I was going to bring my daughter, my younger daughter lives with me. We were sleeping already. It was after 11 o'clock at night. And it was very windy night. And all of a sudden, the doorbell started ringing.
The what?
The bell started ringing in my apartment. Like if somebody
Ding dong,
was
ding
ringing
dong?
the bell. Yeah, it was and it stuck.
It's a
and got
buzz?
stuck. Yeah, it buzzed.
So it's a continuous buzz?
Yeah, it stopped and it got stuck in there. So Anna was wake up. I said, "Mom, what happened? What happened?" I said, "I don't know what happened, honey. I don't know." So we went downstairs and nobody was around. And the bell still ringing. There was a stuck in there. So I went in the chair and the bell is above the stove. And I took the two little wires connected and I unplugged it.
You unplugged it or you ripped it?
No, unplug it. There's two little wires connected because it's
You
electric.
untwisted them?
Yeah, untwisted.
Describe how you untwisted them.
They were like this. So I went up like this and put it up like this.
So you
I
just
didn't
pulled them
broke it.
apart.
I didn't rip it.
You
no.
didn't cut them.
No, I didn't cut it or anything because I didn't. So that's what I did and they stopped. And I told her about the bell and she said, "Why you didn't call me?" I said, "Was it in the middle of the night?"
I wouldn't want my tenant to call me over twisting off two wires. You could just twist them back up again. What happened with the doorbell?
The doorbell was completely dismantled. And
have a
if
picture of it?
yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so these two wires are disconnected. Why don't you just connect them again and then the doorbell will work?
If you look close, you'll see the whole piece is pulled off the wall.
Let's just say that she ripped it off the wall. What do you expect her to do in the middle of the night to get this to stop buzzing?
Like any other tenant, call or text.
And what would you have done?
I would have come over and I would have done
How
it
far do you
myself.
live?
I lived right around the corner.
And what would you have done? Are you handy?
Pretty handy.
Pretty
yeah.
handy. Let me see the
Bill?
estimate by your handyman. And according to you, you did not call her because what?
Because I did talk to her before about the stove and she never did anything about it. The
I know,
stove
but
was
if you
the
just
first
called
issue.
her and she didn't do anything about it, within 30 minutes you could pull it out yourself and there'd be no problem. But if you don't even call her, am I supposed to just ignore the fact that you didn't call her? I don't know.
I did call
I mean,
her the
I know
next
that if
day.
this thing
Yeah.
was going, I'd be taking like a baseball bat and hitting it, and
Yeah, I did.
because that would make me crazy. But
Well, that's
she
what
lives
happened.
around the corner.
Yeah, but
Were you ever called to fix anything else?
No.
She says she told you that the stove was broken. Did she?
Yeah.
She did tell me this.
And so how come you didn't run over the right around? I'll be right over and fix the stove.
No.
She told me the stove was broken and she told me there was a clog. And I had come over the next day to address the clog. I told her that I would have somebody look at the stove. The stove, she told me the
How
stove.
long did you have somebody looking at the stove?
3 or 4 days later.
And then what did the person told you need a new stove?
Yes, he told me that.
And then how long did you live without a stove?
For the 9 months that I was there.
So you're not exactly
not
very
true.
quick in responding to
No.
complaints.
That's not true.
Because it was
How
the
long
oven.
did she live without a stove?
That's not true. She lived quite a few. It was long.
Okay.
But I did have someone take a look at it.
All right. The bell is a close one, but I don't know. You know what? I'm not going to make her pay for a doorbell that's ringing nonstop. You guys are going to have to eat that one as landlords too. You know, given the totality of the circumstances that we have here, where she has a broken stove for 8 months, 9 months, I'm not going to make her pay for that. Which would mean, however, that yes, you have, and let me explain to you how it works. When you have to give 30 days notice, you have to give the 30 days notice at the beginning of a rental unit period. So your rental period is from the first to the end of the month. So if you do it in the middle of the month, you have to stay a month and a half in order to be in compliance. Not just, and then I'm giving you notice. No, don't talk. Mm-hmm. It's 30 days from the beginning of it, so you'd have to do it on the first. If you're renting from the first to the end, then it's the first. If you're renting from the 15th to the 15th, then it's the 15th. You understand? It has to be one full 30-day period, and if it's not, then you're giving her a month and a half notice. So as for the $1,200 that's on that side that you want back, I find that the $1,100 covered the rent for the short notice, okay, for the entire following next month, and I'm going to order you to repay $100 that you have on your side that has nothing to do with rent for the following month. $100 verdict for the plaintiff. That's my judgment, and on the counterclaim, 0.
The plaintiff collects a little bit. The defendant coming out here. The landlords. What's your feeling on the judge's ruling here? Step up a little.
I think it was fair.
You're all right with that?
I think we were happy. Very, very fair. The judge was fair.
All right. Would you like to live without a stove for that long?
No.
Right? Kind of tough, right?
I believe she broke the stove. And I believe she was responsible to fix it if she broke it.
All right. You just head right this way, and let's see what the plaintiff has to say. All right, come on in here. You satisfied with what you got out of this?
Well, that's the way it is, you know.
Yeah, that's how it is. Yeah,
That's the way it is.
How is it?
Yeah, it was fine. It was fine.
Uh-huh.
At least I don't have to pay him anything.
All right, and so where do you live now?
I live in Norwell.
I mean, you have a better place.
I have a better place.
You have better landlords.
And I make sure the landlord give me everything requires. Yeah.
In writing.
In writing. That's
okay.
right.
I think the doorbell's ringing right around the corner. Harvey.
There are a lot of states that do say that you have to give the notice when the rent is due. And also, you got to know that in some states, if a landlord withholds security, some states say that you can get double or even triple the amount of the actual security if the landlord violates the law. That's punishment, so the landlord won't do it again.